Hello, Liberty Walk fans. What do you guys think? Is Liberty Walk cool or not? Taking really nice, expensive cars and making them crazier looking. I kind of like them. They look cool, I think. I guess if you have that kind of money, you know, do what you want with it. And if it means chopping it apart and making it look different from another person with just as much money as you, I guess so. Alright, well, actually, before I go into that, let's look at this. I believe this is the official product by Liberty Walk. This shocking pink color comes in around 1,000 pieces, and so yeah, it's the premium collection from this brand. Okay, made in China. Now I bought this because this is an interesting mix of a resin body with molded windows. This possibly might be the best way to make miniature cars, because I've had two of my resin models with the windows pop loose. And so that's not good, right? But all diecast, it seems like they get paint rash unless it's a Hot Wheels. They just don't know how to paint them properly, especially TLV. Okay. So if you could have windows that don't pop open and a body that doesn't get paint rash, that theoretically might be what this model is, and it might look nice forever. Only time will tell, though. These resin bodies are pretty new to this hobby, but I know that model railroading dates back well over 50 years, maybe 100 years of plastic bodies, probably around 70 years of plastic bodies, and they don't seem to get paint rash or fall apart. As long as you don't leave them in UV exposure, they should be okay. This is a crazy thick display. This is actually like a hand-bent piece of acrylic, and then they glued in the side pieces. It's not a molded cover. It's literally heat formed. You can see the bending of it here. Seems a little excessive to me, but that's what's going on. And then we have two pieces of acrylic here on the bottom, and then acrylic glue and one screw holding this in place, but there is a locator pin there. Okay, so you'll notice here in the images, there's two body kits, at least, put out by Liberty Walk. We have the more normal one where you have over fendering, front and rear, but then you have this one where it's a total wide body. I think that replaces the whole rear fender. So now that I know what we're looking at, let me get some images. So here are the best images I could find. There actually is this pink one here with some pretty funky looking wheels. Alright, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in there because it's also black, but alright, side view here. Matching those lines up. I think it looks pretty good, except for maybe this is a different wing. This is yeah, that's a high up wing, so my bad, but side profile wise it looks pretty good. Different types of wheels though as well, and this car doesn't have a black graphic under the door like this one does. It's really hard to find an image of the rear that you can actually see because everything's all black, but this has the wing that seems to be on this model. Granted, this model has some crazy blue pipes. I noticed some of these have larger inner exhausts than the other ones. This one seems to have equal sized ones. But I would say in general, the general gist of it looks pretty much the same to me. Okay, let's do like a top view here. Angle of a view. Alright, so starting with the nameplate, it's etched away like most of these things have, and this is number 443 of around 1,000 of this color. This wasn't a really expensive model in the realm of resins. I think it was like $30, but it does have molded windows, which again might be good, and we'll see how clear they are. So I don't know what kind of wheels these are, of course. But the tires look rounded, and the decal of the Pirelli stuff is put on pretty well, generally centered pretty well. There is a brake system in there, but it's kind of weird because the rotor, it looks like it's literally touching the wheel, right? So that doesn't make sense. There should be a gap between that rotor and the wheel, and then, you know, there should also be a gap between that caliper, the red caliper, and that wheel as well. So yeah, that's odd. You got 5 lug nut details, and then you can see that this is slammed quite a bit, like the real cars are. I almost feel like this tire might be too high profile. Alright, let's move on. This printing here, is it a print or a decal? Yeah, whatever it is, it's legible. I think it's a decal. See, this is all smooth, this has had a wrinkliness to it, so the decal's on the outside surface. This paint is really neat. I think it's a translucent pink shot over a silver paint base coat. So you have all these little depressions for the body screw details. That looks pretty cool. Little graphic there, LB graphic. That's their little motto. Imagine all the people living life in peace. That's nice. Doesn't seem to be the way the world's going now, though. Sad. Okay, well, we got the black graphic here, probably a decal. It's getting into the panel gaps pretty well, though, and it hasn't broken. But you don't want to pick at it. See, you can literally see the air pocket there, so that's not cool. This base is plastic there. No carbon graphic that I can see. The print, the decals here seem okay. Alright, the door handle is interesting. I don't know why it's like sticking out like a Hot Wheels. It's supposed to be flush, right? This is a supercar. So instead of putting panel cuts into the door, they just extruded out the door handle details. That's a strange design choice. The separate mirrors look pretty nice. There's also a reflective sticker in them. Looks good. There's a fuel filler door here. Looks nice. And then right now you can see the molded windows. The raised molding is painted black. Very good. But you can also see it's so cloudy, right? Look, try to see the other side. It's really cloudy and distorted, right? So, but these windows will never pop loose. So that's the sacrifice we're making here today. So again, the brake rotor is just weird. It could be done a lot better. Diecast do it better than this for a lot less money. Okay, is there anything in here? No. Huh. Not sure if there is anything there on the real car. I would assume there's supposed to be a vent there, but I can't really see on that front photograph. Okay, going to the back, we have lensed over taillights, which look pretty neat. Clear lenses, but then behind it, I don't know if this is a decal or what, but it's a nice looking light system back there with that thin black line there. And then we have a third brake light there. That could be a piece of resin over metal. It's very thin. And then this decal looks alright, I guess. The wing is probably a separate piece because the separation of color is so good. And I think this might be an insert right here as well. Good color separation. Nice little texture. There's a little bit of a Lamborghini text there. Looks pretty good. Let me hit focus again. I'm not sure if you're gonna... That's as good as I can focus it. Maybe I should actually zoom in a little bit. Hold on. Alright, we are at 4 times magnification. So I guess that third brake light, yeah, it looks like it's metal with some red resin over it. So the exhaust pipes, they are this funky blue color. I don't know if they're going for like that rainbow titanium look or what, but interesting. They do have depressions with some darkness in the middle, so that looks alright. It's nice to see a license plate. It's a decal. It says LB Performance, I think. But you can also see that air pocket on the top corner. I can also see not enough black paint there. Or is it reflecting the pink? Oh, you know what? Those... Never mind. I think that's literally like a gap. And there's some like frame members or something there. What's going on in these vents? This is kind of weak. There's no... I don't know. Well, maybe the real car is just open air. It is. Never mind. I think it would have been nice if this was open air, though, because this is so thick. I think they could have had air passing right there. Other resin brands would do it. Here you can see a little bit of that squished honeycomb texture, so that's nice. Yeah, that's really weird. This choice here. Pretty thick diffuser veins there on the bottom. This side here looks pretty good, except for the brake rotor. That decal, just a giant air pocket waiting to crack open. So that's not good. Okay, so the front end, yeah, the headlights, yeah, clear lenses and some sort of detail behind those clear lenses. Probably molded into the body, painted chrome or silver, possibly even separate pieces behind the clear piece. The Lambo logo looks pretty good, and that Lambo logo looks like it's under the clear coat, so that's nice. Same with this. So in some areas it looks like there's decals on top of the clear coat, but these all in the front look like they're under the clear coat, so that's good. I'm gonna have to assume this is a separate piece here. Maybe it's metal. What's going on here? Why is there black there? Is that... So I think this is a case, maybe... Well, I don't know what that black is. I don't know. It's just... One thing that's weird is this grill is all shiny. I think this grill was put in before the model was clear coated. It's just that I don't associate grills being shiny in most cases. They're usually matte finish, right? Oh well. Let's see. There's another piece there in the center. I have to assume it's a separate piece. Okay. And then the chin spoiler is plastic and is quite thick. It's not as good as a real 100% resin brand that would cost twice as much. Alright, well, going to the top here, we have molded in, wiper blades because they're molded windows. That makes sense. The blackout is on the outside surface, which also makes sense with molded windows. If these were thin pieces of plastic, that blackout would be printed on the backside and we would have separate wiper blades. I will say some other brands do have separate wiper blades, like Inno64, and yet they still keep molded windows. This clear coat is fantastic up here. It's very sharp, the reflection. Look how it's so shiny, it's crazy. It's a really thick clear coat, it seems. So all this black here looks like it's under the clear coat, so that's nice. And there's some sort of rib texture there. I don't know if that's like an interior piece. It's pretty far down there. I don't know. All I know is I can see a little pink coming through here, which is unfortunate. And yes, I would have to assume this rear wing is a separate piece. It's interesting. You really can't see the back of this car very much. I'm looking at the rear photograph. I guess you might be able to see some, but not much. Oh, I will say here, you can actually see a tiny bit of the interior through that crack. These cracks here as I shift. See that white light of the side window? So that's actually passing air. That's unexpected. Okay. Now, let's see this whole molded window sacrifice that we have to make. Can you see? Well, you can definitely see this, right? So that's a nicely detailed interior dashboard, that is. But now it's getting hard to see. It's not helped by the fact there's a black interior. Nicely molded steering wheel. Looks very geometric. The dashboard, I think there's gauges in there, so that's probably a decal in there. That's nice. The center console has a whole messload of switches and doodads all over that. The seat is pink in the middle. Let's see about that door panel. There's also seems like a bit of pink on the door panels. Yeah, unfortunately, see, it's so distorted. It's hard to tell. Yeah, that's a very cloudy window. It might not even be much of the distortion. It's just the window itself, like the plastic is very cloudy. I don't know why that's the case. I see a lot clearer molded windows in this hobby, but these look very cloudy. See? It's very strange. Okay, well, the seats are nicely done. I mean, I like the pink in the middle, and there's some sort of texture on the side bolsters. That center console's got the pink. Air pockets, though, so it must be a decal. No indication of seat belts, but you can see that decal on the side door a lot easier now. So, decent enough color in there. There's also a rear view mirror, it seems, and that's probably a piece of metal, just based on how thin it is. Yeah, that's gotta be a piece of metal. It's just okay. All right, well, yeah, definitely, you know, very cloudy, hard to see in the interior, but for me, I'm more about the outside. You know, after this video, I'll never look at that interior again. But it is a little weird that the plastic is so cloudy. It could have been a lot better. I guess the main detractor I see on this one is the brake rotors and calipers are just too big. They look too weird touching the wheels. But the paint job is really cool. Not sure if I'm going to successfully pull this off, but I have the Mini GT version of this thing, and this is all die-cast. Yeah, not with the space, I can't really put them in the same location. But here, I'm looking at the panel gaps. From the side view, it's really hard to tell if the resin one is better. But from the front view, it's quite obvious. This Mini GT has really big panel gaps for the hood. Hold on again. It's really hard to hold these. Let me hit focus now. Look how giant this panel gap is. It's just huge, right? And then look how much thinner the resin is. You know, a resin can simply have better details because it's less, you know, taxing on the molds, being a softer material than metal. So that's the advantage of a resin body. Now I can also see though, this Mini GT, look how much easier it is to see the dashboard compared to this one. Something about this plastic has a cloudiness to it, whereas the Mini GT is generally clear. Is it different, maybe a different type of plastic? I don't work at these factories, I don't know. One nice thing about Mini GT are the rubbery mirrors, but the sacrifice is it seems a little bit more rounded versus the angularity of this more brittle plastic mirror. And then for some reason these mirrors have like a dimple. See that? That? I don't know if that's by design. The Mini GT does not have that. I already took the pictures away of the real car, so I don't know. Much sharper definition of whatever creases go on in the roof of this car. Mini GT, not much. You can kind of see it there and there. But again, it has to be like softened down because it's trying to preserve the mold that is coming out of, whereas resins don't have that issue. This one actually has a clear engine cover, so I'm sure there's variations of these body kits over time. It's nice that this die-cast still has the rivet marks. Very neat. The dashboard of this one is better. It's got better detail as far as like it looks like it was stitched together. This one does not. But this is a fraction. You know, this is 1/2 or 1/3 the cost of this. So it's understandable that this would be lesser detailed. It should be. You know, it's a smaller budget. And Mini GTs have no brakes whatsoever, so I painted these wheels, I think, so that's why they look that way. Mini GT also decided to put blue exhausts on, and for some reason they're a lot smaller on the Mini GT. Okay, but both have license plates, which is great. Both also have these clear taillights, so that's nice as well. The Mini GT actually has a carbon effect on the wing, whereas this one does not. Okay, so that's the comparison of those two. Let's just pull out a few other Huracans. I guess I'll get this thing spinning. It's going to be a mix of Kyoshos and Mini GTs. So here's the first Huracan by Kyosho. And no brakes on these either, but again, not bad. And I do feel like you can see the dashboard a lot easier. So the plastic they use here, styrene I assume, seems to be pretty good. Yes, this is just like a non-metallic color. It's just a green. This is the Huracan Super Trofeo by Kyosho. So it's running slicks. And it's nicely molded, nicely detailed, I think. Here's a normal Huracan by Mini GT. Okay, so great details for the price. It's just that the Mini GT doesn't tell you what the car is. It's really strange. I don't know why they wouldn't just mold the letters in there, because you can't share this base with anything but this Huracan, right? So strange. It's just an orange car. Again, it's just a red, green, and white car. Mini GT. What are you guys doing? Come on. And here's that other version that LibertyWalk does with this wacky wide body kit. Frankly, I think I prefer the earlier version, the subject at hand today, than this particular style. But I guess if you're going to go over the top, so now we just have a white car by Mini GT. And another fantastic green car that Mini GT is this one. So I swapped the wheels on this though. These are 3D printed wheels I bought at some sort of diecast show. This is a really cool paint job. It's crazy, like acid metallic green with the orange combination works really well. Just don't know what the car is. So supposedly I have a bunch of Huracans on this plate by Mini GT, and definitely some Huracans by Kyosho. But they're all die-casts except for the subject at hand today. I'm gonna pause this thing. So maybe you can just pause the video yourself and look at those details if you're a stickler for that kind of stuff, and ask yourself if the die-casts are acceptable. I think for the price that they are, it's just when they get paint rash, you know, you're gonna be let down. So far, I don't think these have gotten paint rash, so I'm lucky so far. So it's a pretty good model, and I know that the windows aren't going to pop loose like a resin. Whoever makes this for LibertyWalk, I just recommend that they look at some brake calipers and brake rotors and realize what they designed is not remotely functional or realistic. But I think even more important is maybe the windows could just be clearer plastic. It's really strange to have cloudy cloudy windows on a model that costs this much money. So it's just odd. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next Lamborghini video. Bye.